you want to see what he thinks? Yeah. Gunny told one of the guys to let Jim through. He walked up to the now small group standing by the bodies. Mark noticed that the sight of Susan's body had the same effect on him as it had on most of the men. What happened? He finally asked, swallowing hard. Rob told him Mark's story, almost word for word. Where were the shooters? Jim asked. Over by Billy and his boys, Gunny answered as he pointed west. Jim put his hand to his forehead to shield his eyes from the relentless sun. Holy crap, Gunny, that's over 1,000 yards. The old Marine nodded his head. Mark said that there was a gust of wind from the south just before Kurt was shot. Jim's head snapped around to look at Mark. How strong was it? I don't know, Mark answered in an aggravated manner. 10, 15 miles an hour, the sharpshooter prodded. Somewhere in there, yeah. How long did it last? The anger was coming back, but now it was directed at Jim. What was it with these guys in the wind? Couldn't they see 2 people were dead? 2 people he was friends with? He didn't mean to, but he found himself yelling at his friend. What difference does it make? Kurt and Susan are dead. The wind isn't going to bring them back. Just forget the fucking wind, okay? Jim took a breath and slowly blew it out. He looked at Gunny and then Rob. They both gave him a single nod. Mark, he said, turning his head back to his friend, the reason we're interested in the wind is that we don't think the snipers were trying to kill Kurt. We think they wanted to kill you. A hot knife couldn't have pierced Mark's heart like those words did. His knees buckled a little and Gunny had to steady him. Kurt and Susan were dead because of him? Who would have wanted to kill him, and why? 1,000 thoughts raced through his mind in a millisecond. Jim explained how the wind had pushed the bullet off its intended course. Mark knew what had happened the second Jim had said the bullet was aimed at him, but he let his friend explain. Hearing anything was better than listening to the doubts, the fears, and questions running through his mind. Jess showed up at the fence and called Mark. He walked over to her, trying not to show the fear on his face that he felt in his heart. Is it true? Are Susan and Kurt dead? She asked. He nodded his head. He was afraid to speak. If he started, he might not be able to stop, and he certainly didn't want to tell her that he was the one who was supposed to be dead. Jess burst into tears. He hugged her as best he could across the barbed wire fence. After a couple of minutes, she pulled herself together. What about Susan's boys? They don't know yet, do they? Do you want Lisa and me to go talk to them? Should I bring them to our house? Mark hadn't even thought about the boys. This was going to be as hard on them as it had been on Timmy and Tommy when they lost their parents. Yeah, I think so. Thanks. Why don't you go get Brother Bob to go with you and Lisa, and wherever you and Lisa think they should stay until we find someone to take them permanently is okay with me. She turned around to leave and then turned back around. Are you okay? I will be, he promised.